everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of the Raising and Thriving podcast. And today we have the first ever father figure to, appear on this podcast. So please, let's give a round of applause. Yes, we must clap. A round of applause for Mr. James Agbontine. He's a father of one and is a first-time dad as well. And we are super excited to have him in the studio today, right? Like I would always say, this doesn't only, the thing about parenthood and postpartum and everything do not only have to do with mothers. The fathers also experience. I hear that fathers also experience. In fact, postpartum, there's father postpartum. There's even father experiencing pregnancy symptoms. So it's not only the mothers that can relate to what we say here. So I just decided that we should have a father to come and share his experience with us, so we learn one or two from the male figure. So we're happy to have you here in the studio today.
All right. Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much. We are really happy to have you here. So I have some questions I would like to ask you, and I hope you're ready. We need your honest, unfiltered, and
I'm not sure I can be unfiltered, but okay.
So just please feel free to share experiences with us, because we have a lot of people watching and would like to learn one or two. So my first question for you is, how has your life changed since you became a father?
This question I have been anticipating. Right?
Wow, okay.
So I've always thought about how to answer. And I'll start with something.
Okay.
I have an older friend. His name is Femi Adebanjo.
Okay.
And when I called him and told him my wife has given birth, he said, wow, fatherhood changes people.
Wow.
And that he used to swim into the Atlantic Ocean.
Okay.
But when his wife gave birth, he stopped swimming that far. And when he said that, I was like, well, who knows? And now I share his opinion. So I became a father.
Yeah. Actually,
not biologically, but I became a father 13th of March 2020.
Okay.
When my dad died. And at the time I had the younger siblings. They were not so young, but because of the circumstances around how we were raised, we're so close to our dad, so we're very dependent on him. Yeah. So it felt like I had just gotten 3 children. And the reason why I say so is that prior to his death, I was someone who would always stay out late, for sure. 11 o'clock is probably when I'm trying to get back home. And I was very, I always felt like nothing can happen to me. And I was very fearless. But as soon as he died and I became responsible for my siblings, for some reasons, I just want them to be around. Oh. I just want them to be in the house. I'm not at peace if they're not there.
Worrying.
I'm like, why am I feeling this way? I used to be, so I could relate with what parents felt whenever they're like, where are you? And then I then had my own child in 2023.
Wow.
And so some of these things are already, like I said, that's my first experience having this whole change towards how you think. It's just automatic. But one thing I know is people actually think that women go through pregnancy alone. It's only them that experience hormones and stuff. I don't think so.
Really?
I think the father also goes through transformation.
Can you buttress?
Yes, I will, because you can ask questions like, why does pregnancy have to be so crazy? The whole vomiting, the whole late night, the pain, the heat, and all that. And it does not make sense. But when you become a parent, you actually now understand that it was deliberate to change you from who you used to be to who you are now. Because it's very important, because that person who comes to this world is helpless, but is capable of getting into so many problems. And you need to be able to be in the right frame of mind, or be well groomed to take up that responsibility.
Yes.
So, I can just wake up from sleep And I found out that my child was actually in distress, and that was why I woke up. Like nothing.
Oh, just reflex.
Just reflex, and those reflex came from the sleepless nights we used to have when my wife was pregnant. So ever since then, like I can't sleep deep. I can't be unaware of my environment.
Wow.
There was one particular night I just woke up and I saw that my child was vomiting, like, and he was going to be choked. So you see, that's part of the process you go through.
Of being a father.
So it's actually a transformation. And there was a day my child was falling down, and I just grabbed my child, like it was on the edge of the bed, and I don't even know how fast. Okay, I play lawn tennis, but
okay.
no, this reflex was different.
Was from like a father to his child.
I just picked him, and when I kept him up, I looked at my hand like,
now me do this thing.
Because we actually see videos of fathers like casually saving children, being in the right place at the right time. And so I feel like there's this biological transformation that occurs that makes you become more alert and aware. So I think that happens to the fathers too. So I don't think it's just women who go through those changes. Okay. Another instance would be like when I go out. Okay, so before I married now, I was single, but when I got married, I started thinking, oh, actually I have a wife. Or even when I go for conferences, if they give me snack, I'm trying to sneak my portion so that we can share at home. Instead, maybe things that I can't really move. And so all of a sudden now I'm in the market, and everything that looks like children things is what is attracting me. And I just, this one will be nice. Sometimes I'm just like, can't I just have like, you can tell yourself that it's okay to buy something without considering. So it's like the experience is not something you can say this is how it is, because you totally change. You're just different. It's like you're sleeping. Once you sleep, every night your wife is pregnant. God is doing some things in your brain that changes the whole idea. And something happened recently. I had an encounter with some people. Me, oh my God, I can be very crazy in some situations. I don't care what will happen. But you know, something kept telling me, you left your house this morning. You didn't even tell your child that you're not going to come back because you got into trouble. So try and manage this situation so that your child will see you again today. Like you've not planned not to come back. So and I could not just be angry. I found myself begging, because I felt like, okay, begging would be
the easy way out, just to save yourself.
But that would never be me.
On a normal day,
never be me. So the fact that you're now thinking, like, not for yourself anymore, but for somebody else, is something that is very, very amazing and surprising, because you don't know how you ended up there.
Wow, that's a lot. Oh my God, I feel really emotional hearing this. Like hearing from the father's perspective now. Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so the next question I have for you is, what's one thing about fatherhood that completely surprised you?
I think what surprised me the most is, in as much as there's a change, there's no change.
Okay.
Yeah.
Please
so
explain.
I'm just like, this just became my life all of a sudden. I didn't go to any school, and I don't know what my child will say about me when he's 30 or 40 years, but if I'm saying, I will say to myself that I didn't feel as a father. Like, it just came naturally. So that's what surprised me, because you would think that, oh, there will be challenges that you will not be able to. Yes, and somehow you just find out that you have the ability. I think that's what surprised me, because I've always had the idea of wanting to do it right. But there was no school I went to. There was no time to go to. So I think the fact that you survive every day is what surprises me. That oh, you're actually a father now. You're actually surprised.
Over a year now.
Like, it's happening, like, so. So I don't think there's any shocking
thing per se.
Past the fact that the entire process is happening and you can't stop it and you can't interfere.
That's amazing. I'm sure you're doing an amazing job being a dad.
Well, I don't care. I tell myself I am.
You say you don't care about any other opinion. You tell yourself
I'll buy myself best daddy in the world t-shirt.
Yeah, you deserve it. I'm sure you're doing a good job.
Yeah.
So, okay, did you feel fully prepared for fatherhood, or did it just come as a surprise?
Okay, so
Or, sorry, one other question. Like, were there moments you feel like, okay, you didn't feel good enough as a father? Like, did it come as a surprise for you, basically?
okay, yes. I think it will always be like, so even till now, I'm like, so I'm actually somebody's father.
Let me
Like,
get this speaking, so hey,
how
God.
did it?
It just happened like overnight.
How did it happen? But I also like have moments where I feel I can do much better because
Okay.
I understand that children are going to mirror you, and I'm not anywhere close to the kind of disciplined person my parents are to have a tradition. For example, my wife and I, we pray like when we feel it. You know, like there's no tradition, unlike where we come from, where we have like a specific time for prayer and all that. And it
Okay.
would be something I understood was a culture they wanted to imbibe in us. So I'm sure they took intentional effort to have
do
praying
that,
time.
yes.
So I've always been like, our child is not too young for us to begin to have that tradition. But each time
Yeah.
I'm not able to keep it up because it's not me, I feel like I'm doing something wrong. But so I came across one message one day, and it's like, you know, don't bother yourself so much about who and how you want your child to be, right?
Okay.
Especially when you feel like you're inadequate, because we're all inadequate. But when it comes to the things of the Lord, just commit them into the hands of the Lord. And the very first day we praying, and my son just said amen. I'm like, we were not even praying. The mother just called him and was like, come and pray. And then she said in Jesus' name, and he said amen. I was like, this is so fulfilling for me, because I felt like in that aspect I
You had
wasn't a
failed.
good example. And not only that, he sings Christian songs that I do not even remember sitting him down to teach him. So it gave me a lot of inspiration to know that where you're weak, really God can come through and help out. And I'm so happy because I feel like if you have Christ in your foundation, like you have everything in this world. Like you can be anybody, you can be anywhere, you can be anything, as long as you have Christ as your foundation.
Yes.
And I'm happy to see that my child is going in that way.
Yeah.
And with or without my effort.
Yes, that's amazing. So I want you to tell me, how did you feel when you first carried him? Was there some sort of connection? I mean, when he was fresh out of the womb?
So I've always been preparing for that moment.
Tell me about it,
much
please.
that I probably did not feel any connection, because
Oh,
I've
wow.
already told myself these are the particular steps I was going to take when I see my child. And surprisingly, the labor took a different turn. I actually thought I would be in the labor room. I was there with my wife throughout, but I think they knew I was very emotional, and not in the sense of like crying and stuff, aggressive. Like I could not understand why my wife was hurting, and I did not want anybody to hurt her. So so they probably thought that, oh, this guy, like if things go south, may not be able to
handle his emotions.
So I was just outside. So when they brought the baby, I actually did not. They gave the baby to my mom, and I did not know if I should carry the baby. I was just stunned, and so they just collected the baby from her and went to clean up the baby, and then brought the baby back in the blanket. And I don't still think. My mother was like, "Take your baby now, take your baby."
The
I'm
same
like,
thing with my husband. Like, he
I was just
he doesn't know
looking
how
at.
to carry the baby.
I'm
Was
like
confused.
stunned, like this. So this is real, like, you know. So, but then when I held the baby, I was like, well, God, I thank you, and I'm here now, and there's no going back from this moment. I can never be not a father. Like, no matter what happens to this child, it can never be said anymore that I wasn't a father.
Wow.
So it was very beautiful, because like the people who brought me up have seen me, you know, now take
Grow up
over.
to be a father.
Hey, amazing moms and caregivers. If you're enjoying all the tips and insights here on Raising and Thriving podcast, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure to turn on those notifications so you never miss out on the next episode, filled with helpful advice for your parenting journey. You can also find us on all your favorite social media platforms, so be sure to follow and don't forget to share the love with other moms in your life. Let's grow and strive together.
So I was going to say that, I mean, your parents who brought you up now see you as a father. Like, this is now beyond, oh, they're your parents. You have now become like a parent yourself.
Yeah, so all my life flashed before my eyes. I actually remember when I was a child, secondary school. In that moment, I'm like,
oh my God.
So I'm actually here now. In that moment, yes.
This is actually a very emotional session. I don't know why I feel this way. But that's amazing. So, what was the most challenging part of fatherhood for you?
I think it's still something that will be a challenge.
Oh, it's still a challenge, okay.
Yes. Well, somehow I'm this person that was always a part of the process, right from antenatal and stuff. So, in any way I could help, I was always helping. So a lot of the things was, but most of the challenge was actually between myself and my wife.
Okay.
Because she changed. And pregnancy, changed her as a person. Not in character,
No, I understand.
not even physically, but I could not understand. I wasn't understanding her.
Like the emotional part?
Just her perspective on everything.
Okay.
Changed.
Okay.
And I could not be up to speed. Because I went some changes, but it's not like the same as much as.
Yes,
so
the mother.
Like being on the same, because she has someone she's catering for, but I would never understand that there's somebody in her life. I would expect us to be the same people
that you
we were before. So
yes.
if I do some jokes and she's not having it, or if I want us to do some things and maybe it doesn't just make sense to her that don't I understand the times and season, and I'm just suggesting something.
Yeah.
I will not get it. I would not get it. I will not understand. So that's a challenge, and then the second challenge is balancing, raising the child in terms of discipline.
Okay.
So I've spanked our baby a couple of times.
Aww.
I've yelled at him because it can be overwhelming sometimes.
Yeah, no, gentle parenting I hear doesn't work sometimes.
No, so it's not even about that. It's the fact that she understands that he can't communicate his challenges.
Oh.
I don't understand that he can't come. So I'm just saying that he's being naughty.
Okay, not that he's just being a toddler or he's just being a
so
child.
I don't ever think that he's just being a child. Maybe because he does some very intelligent things. So I'm like, this guy is a human being like me, so why can't he get it? So
yes.
And every time when I yell, it doesn't change, it helps the situation, it makes it worse. And she will be like, stop yelling. You understand? But at the same time, I'm like, don't come to me 3 years later and tell me that I'll report to your daddy and this guy is not taking me serious, because this is the moment he needs to know that one person is the iron. I'm not also doing it because I just want to prove that point.
Yes.
Sometimes I'm actually angry and hot.
Yes.
But at the same time, I need to also because you don't know when you have a spoiled child. You can't tell.
Yeah, you
don't
can't
know
tell
when
it's too late sometimes.
when you have crossed the line. So sometimes I set back. So the major challenge is what will be enough discipline in our eyes, or not what would not be crossing the line when it comes to disciplining the child. When will we be on the same page? Because I'm not as soft spoken as she is. I'm a more aggressive person. It may not be a gender thing, or it may be a gender thing.
Yeah, I think it's even good. That is why you people complement each other.
So I do not want a situation where one parent looks like an enemy.
Yes, you want to be on the same page.
Yes, but we can't be, because we're on different discipline level.
Okay.
So I hope maybe someday we would come to an understanding that there are some things that would require shouting and spanking, and there are some things that does not require it, and I'll know those things don't require spanking and shouting, and she will also know some things that would require spanking and I think so that's the biggest
challenge for you.
So walking around, having the child, having the relationship, having everything.
Well, I'm sure with time, I mean, it's not easy. As much as we say it's not easy being a mother, it's also not easy being a father, trying to navigate this whole parenthood thing. Though I heard somewhere where they said, I think a child's brain stopped developing at 5 years. So a lot of things they do, right? They don't even know that they're doing it. Just like sometimes I would see my son maybe show certain kind, like behave in a certain way, and I'm like, Leo, even my husband rather will even say, this guy is an old man to be doing this kind of thing. But the truth is, they might just be doing it based on, they don't even know what they are doing. That's the truth. They don't. Their brain is not fully developed. So that's why a lot of times they'll tell us to like take it easy on the child, maybe till the child is a certain age, because I mean the brain is not fully developed. They don't really know what they are doing and all of that.
And I think that's the theory women share. We believe they know what they're doing because
now he's throwing this as gender.
yeah, because I mean they are
okay.
You can send him go and get your shoes, and he will bring his shoes. So if you tell him don't do this, he should also know that.
No, not to do it. Okay.
And sometimes they do certain things, and they
are aware.
They are hiding
like,
or they are waiting for a reaction. Hiding. So, I mean, but
all right. But I understand your point.
So I think it's just to not be a tyrant, right? To not be that parent that does not actually understand discipline and anger, like you're just angry
all
rather
the
than
time.
Discipline. Yes.
Okay, I totally understand you. So, but did you feel any pressure to be like the perfect dad, like I have to be perfect for my son and all of that?
No, I don't feel any pressure, especially nice. Because I feel like
you're doing a good job already.
No, okay, that one is banter, but I feel like you can't hide your personality. You may try to become a better person, but you can't hide your personality. And if I'm not a great dad, if my child learns it early enough, maybe it will help our relationship down the line. If I'm not perfect. There's no point hiding, because how long do you hide your personality? So you're either a good father or
a bad father. Yes, yes.
Be a good person anyway. And so it's the same way it would let me understand down the line if my child is not who I expect the child to be. Because I don't expect put pressure on myself. I don't think I will put the same pressure. I think it's just to come to this world, live your life and go, but in everything be a good person. So I try to be a good person.
Even to your child.
Yes, and then it's actually turning out to be being a good father.
Okay, amazing. So many fathers talk about being left out during the early months of having a child. Maybe the mother is too attached to the baby, rather is too attached to the mother, or the mother is too attached to the baby, and they don't get to like experience being a father, especially in that first few months. Did you feel being left out during that first few months of your child coming into this world?
Like neglected by my wife?
Yeah, something like that. Or not being a part of, not being neglected, of course, because I hear that attention shifts from, maybe as a wife, for instance, attention shifts from the father to the child. I hear people talk about experiencing such things. So did you experience that, and how did you handle it, if you did?
I think I experienced it, but it was a misunderstanding. Okay. So it's a misunderstanding because I did not understand how much of a chore it was to balance the situation. Okay. Because for us, we're both new parents, and this child was delicate. So I think that my expectations would have been insensitive. Insensitive in the sense that I did not understand how much of a work it was for her. Yeah. So so I felt neglected. That's the reality. But at the same time, I felt not appreciated, right? Because again, it's a misunderstanding of everything. So not understanding that this is a challenging time for everybody. Like maybe you think it's just you sprained your leg and bandage your leg and walk and move on. It's
not that easy.
So it's not the same in any way. So for us, it's like I mean, you had it. Move on. It's not
that easy, my brother.
Yeah.
It's not at
So,
all.
it was mostly my inability to understand the situation that would probably
Okay.
result in that.
A lot of the misunderstandings. Okay.
Like, not misunderstanding, just feeling neglect.
Okay, yes. Okay, but eventually you were able to come around to understand the whole process and understand that, okay, this is my wife, I shouldn't feel neglected. Like, I just want to know, how were you able to, like, navigate that feeling?
I
basically?
think communication.
Okay,
And
okay.
to be honest, I saw an episode of this podcast where she also got to. So we had. Okay, so I mean, it may not be the same for the same because.
No, I know.
So
of
my
course,
my
every
wife is
parent
someone that
different.
believes in communication, and if this is a problem, let us talk about the problem so we can. Me, on the other hand, I don't like confrontation because
Yeah.
I don't know how to maintain communication. Like it goes from 0 to 100. If I just say something and you don't understand me,
Okay, I
I'm
understand.
good. So I instead of being that person, I just avoid.
Yeah.
But she likes to talk, and so she. Funny enough, I felt like I was trying to be there and I was rejected. I did not know that
You
she
were
felt
not-
like she was
Oh.
neglected. I was not part of her life.
Oh,
So when we talked about it, and then
yes.
we now defined what it meant to be a part of each other's life in this situation, then it made sense because she had a mom, people were around. So I was like, she had everything she needed,
Ah.
right? And she was like, no, I needed you. I'm like, what do you want me to do? But then I understood that this was a journey we went through together up to this point. So why did I just say, oh, people are there to take care of you?
Yeah, I think it's amazing. I'm happy that our podcast is actually changing lives. I'm really happy about that. And I would like to say that, just to like add to what you've said, a lot of times, I think I've even said it in one of my shots, a lot of times we fathers rather, think that, okay, since we have all the help we need, they don't need us anymore. I mean, her mom is there, her sister is there. I need you guys to understand that, or I'd always say that, like I always tell my husband, fine, I have these people, but I also need you emotionally. Do you understand? Because whatever it is my family can give me, whatever it is my family can give, they can't give me the kind of emotional support the man would give. So your presence, I would always say this, the presence of a father in a recovering mother is needed 100%. But I know that the husband has to also go out and get things done, but the mother needs the father even much more. My mother will be here, fine, no problem. But we need you for that emotional support, for that, that's encouragement and all of that. So I'm happy that, you guys had this conversation, and you're in a better place. So I'm really happy about that. Thank you for sharing. So what's that one thing about motherhood that has surprised you that surprised you when you watched your partner go through it? Like, what's that thing that you saw your partner go through and was shocking for you?
Well, I think my wife has always been the logical person, but I think it tripled.
Oh, okay.
Like my response would be chaos. My response would be, let's digest, let's break down, let's understand what's going on.
Okay.
So I think it has grown because she has made the entire space a safer space for a child to grow and I think another thing that surprises me the most is her telling me she wants another baby. Like, how?
Oh my! You know
Why?
they say this. Sorry to cut you. You know they say this thing that women are the ones that always, after what they've gone through,
So
they're the ones that will go again and be looking for trouble. They want another baby.
So because I'm like, yes, if you guys say, because they're like, do you know what it is to be a mother? Do you know how stressful? I'm like, so why in the world
Do you want another baby? But don't you want another baby?
We have not even like we've not survived this child. We have not even survived this child, and so it's actually surprising to me because like if there would have been anybody who would say, okay,
yes,
maybe it would be me. Okay, I'm the last person too, but I mean, amongst us, she should be the lastest. But I'm surprised that she's like,
oh my god, so she should be at the back, not wanting a child anytime soon. But don't worry, you'll be fine. Please, whatever she wants, give to her.
yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, amazing. So I would like to know, what advice do you have for new dads, who are still trying to navigate these early months? For instance, a new dad who just has a child and still trying to navigate this journey of fatherhood with the partner. What advice do you have for them?
Well, it's not that deep, really.
Okay.
Don't overthink it. Just live one day at a time.
Okay.
But never underestimate the power of prayer. Like, if you're probably in the stage where your wife is pregnant, begin to pray and say, Lord, this and this and this is what I want. I want a healthy baby.
Yeah.
I want because we always pray this prayer, and my child goes through some things that we don't even know this child is sick until. So always, pray to God, help me to be a good father every day. Help me to be a better person for my wife and my child. Don't underestimate the prayer, because it will come in ways you don't understand. Like, there are times I'm driving and I actually survived a very crazy accident. Like, I did not get involved, but I knew that
if you had not left that position at
yes,
the time,
or if I did not, like, something would just say, and then I'll just wave or something like that. And
God.
I feel like it's because I keep praying to God, like,
to protect you.
protect me, protect my child, protect. So I think everything should end in prayers, because once you pray, God will teach you how to navigate every situation. And be very patient. I know maybe I can't say a lot of men are not patient, because that would be generalizing.
Yeah.
But be very patient with your partner. Because your child is still a baby. There's nothing you can do to change your child. But you have to be very patient with your partner. You have to understand that you cannot understand everything that is going on.
Yes.
And don't expect too much, because since you can't understand, how are you sure she understands what you also want? So, but the biggest advice I'll give is, like, prayer. Always pray. Always pray, because you cannot be perfect. You cannot know it 100%.
Yes.
And it's not because I'm a pastor that I'm saying prayer. It's because where it's a new field for you. And so, since you don't know anything about it,
you're literally learning on the job.
exactly. So the only person who can make it easy for you is the person who created the child and created you. And so he will make sure, like, many of these challenges are not in your way, so it becomes an easier journey. So prayer, and take it easy. Like, it's not that deep, really.
Yes. Well, it's so amazing to actually hear from the aspect of a father. I mean, like, I've learned a lot of the things father go through. We think, we are in this bubble that, the mother is going through this. We actually do not understand we don't understand the kind of changes. I mean, now you're even more conscious about yourself, trying to ensure that you're safe, trying to ensure that you go home to meet your family. I mean, that proves that your family is priority, and that's what every wife and every child prays for.
Surprisingly, they became priority. Like, it's not something I would ever think. Like,
it wasn't planned. You just woke up one morning.
I actually start thinking that I can actually do things that can have negative
effect on
my family, and so it's actually amazing.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us today.
You're welcome.
An amazing episode with you here. And to my viewers, to the fathers, I'm sure some fathers watch this as well. I'm sure you've picked one or two things from Mr. Adbontine in today's episode. And thank you for watching. And please, I would always say this: do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't yet. And also follow us on our various social media platforms at Raising and Thriving on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Thank you for watching, and have an amazing day. Bye. Uncle James, please tell them bye-bye too.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.